So welcome to the Pop Enthusiast. I'm Paul Scardino. Today we are joined by Christian Braun from the Pop Price Guide. Very excited, Christian, to have you on the channel. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to be talking about, a little bit about the history of the Pop Price Guide, what it's used for. I've used it personally. It's really my go-to inventory for my Guinness World Record collection. We're going to walk through the price guide, some new features that have been added, which is fantastic. And then maybe some new attractions. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about it, see if you'll reveal some, you don't have to, but some secrets of maybe what's coming or what people have to look forward to. So there's always something new, which is really neat on the Pop Price Guide whenever you go in there. So welcome, Christian. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me.
You bet. Yeah. So if I can start off just by asking, where did the idea of Pop Price Guide come from? How did it come to fruition?
Okay. I'll probably go with that theme, and I'm just going to share my screen with you here. One
Sure.
second. Can never find that button. Share screen. There it is. Okay. Yeah. So Pop Price Guide actually was initially founded by a gentleman called John Ham. And it looked like this in the beginning. Went back to the web archive to see what it looked like when he started, which was kind of mid 2014. And I'll tell you a little more about how it came that hobbyDB and Pop Price Guide working together. But they both are the same age. And I thought I'd just give you a quick background on why we're doing what we're doing and how we're doing it.
Sure.
And then we can go to the site, and then I can show you some of the new features that are coming up that we're excited about. So, if I go back to 1984, that was the year that Ghostbusters came out. I started working on my first documentation project. I collected a company called Timpo Toys.
Oh.
I had everything that they've made, and I wanted to write a book about it because there were no websites at the time. That project is still pending. I've never quite finished that. But in 1987, 3 years later, when The Legend of Zelda made it onto your screen, my brother wrote that book. It's an early price guide on this German toy company.
Oh,
and
wow.
I helped. And I was hooked after that. So in 2007, when Steve Jobs introduced this, I run the Toy Auctioneer in London, which was former Christie's auctioneers doing auctions of toys. And then in 2012, I run all these different websites that all had something else. They were doing some figures and model scale planes and trains and model cars. And every one of them wanted to build a database of everything that that particular group was interested in. And in 2014, I decided to do just that. Came to the US because about 2/3 of collecting is happening here in America. And I wanted to build a database that collects everything ever made.
Everything.
I just didn't like the fact that Wikipedia has these artificial laws of what can be added and what cannot be added. And I personally liked every single one of those Timpo toys when I collected them. I wanted every one to be added, but that just didn't work. So we have the natural extension of Wikipedia, where they document the wars and the politician. We do mankind's lesser achievements, all the small stuff. Mm-hmm. And there's billions of them. At the same time, John started Pop Price Guide. From then to today, we brought in a lot of sites that often were databases. So Hugata is a huge game database, and they had 60,000 video games. And Toy Collector app was an iOS app that just joined us, was about 150,000 action figures.
Oh, really? I'm familiar with the Toy Collector app. I remember that's actually something that I used right before I switched over to PPG. So that's
it does Funko not as well, but it has the most esoteric action figure lines. Zach, who used to run it, just joined us, and he's bringing everything over. He's also helping us on an app, And it's just amazing because it's all the stuff that, that volunteers have added on TCA over the years, and now it's on hobbyDB. We've uploaded the first 40,000. There's still, I think, 90,000 coming. The Hardware Cafe pin catalog, that was 70,000 Hardware Cafe pins. So we take all that data in, and really the same with PopPriceGuide. John, who founded it, and I had talked over the years, and he liked what we were doing, and then he ran into technical issues. The site had grown way too fast for its foundation. It was down for 10 days, and he wasn't able to fix it. So we did a deal. He joined us, and we started managing it from then on. So we ran it for a number of years, and then recently we put it on the same technical platform, and I'll talk a little bit about that later.
Well, if I have a quick question for you too. Yeah. So when you said he had started the PopPriceGuide and you guys were involved, so I'm assuming like Funko Pops were the main catalyst for that to start PopPriceGuide, or
yes,
were there
other were.
pieces?
I mean, he covered everything else like Wobblers and so. Funko really started with Wobblers, I guess, but it's the Pop that I think he liked and that made him start it. They always from the beginning were doing everything, so the Christmas ornaments and anything Funko, but Pops have always been the mainstream.
Yeah.
And it's also the largest part of the catalog. I mean, we've got 510,000 items in hobbyDB, and PopPriceGuide is using the same technical platform, but it's only showing Funko items. That's 22,000, of which I think about 9,000 or so are Pops.
Okay.
Then we have 4.4 million price points now that build the guide, the price guide. We've got 2,437 volunteers.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's and that's what we need. We are like Wikipedia. We need volunteers to build this because there's just so much difficult knowledge that wouldn't be otherwise existing. So we have a guy in Chile who came on board, and he's adding South American variations that you just don't see over here. And then there's 480,000 members, and they now own 35 million items in the system. I think you own 7,000,
yes.
But there's a few other people that own also some stuff. So that's basically status of hobbyDB today. I'm hoping and then I forgot. As it's now possible, we made the shift this year from inviting our volunteers and others to own the company.
Yes.
Which is now possible because of changes in the law, and I think it's fantastic. So what we'd like to do more of all of this. Next year, would kind of like to double up. So 1 million items in the database. I think Funko is not going to do another 22,000, but maybe 26,000 Funko items. 20 million price points, so kind of 4 times what we have today. I'm hoping that we double our volunteers and our members, and they will own more by then, and then have 2,000 shareholders, with the idea of eventually having 100,000 volunteers and maybe 50,000 shareholders. People that own this business that they're using a lot of, large parts of the day, like you do.
Right? Why not? Right? Collectors have been around for forever, and they're all over the place, and everybody. I know Funko's main phrase is everybody's a fan of something. And everybody does collect something in some capacity,
Yeah, it's a great phrase. I wish I would have thought of it.
Right.
I really do like that phrase because it's so true. And we find that we've got somebody who collects Funko, but then they also have a little of Titan, or they have some comics. Or we have a guy who added 1,000 Hardware Cafe pins, and now he's doing the doors, all the LPs and the concept posters and so on and so forth. Everybody collects more than one thing. There's often the main thing, but once that's done, there's so many other stuff. It's great because we have people adding that.
That's fantastic. So would it be fair to say that, PopPriceGuide is kind of one of the arms of hobbyDB?
Yeah, I'll show you a little bit later how it actually works, technically speaking. But yes, you could say that. It's just a different entry point. If you collect just Funko, PopPriceGuide is perfect. If you collect Funko and G.I. Joe, and some pop culture stuff, and maybe Kid Robot and some film posters, then hobbyDB is better.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter because it's the same account and it's the same technical system. So let's just do a quick demo here. I'm jumping over, and I'm just giving you a quick tour of hobbyDB and then come to PPG. So if I look for something like Batman here, you can see in our system that we've got, I don't know if you can see it here on the left, there's Christmas and holiday ornaments and clocks and dolls and mugs and all kinds of stuff that's Batman related. And you can zoom into any of these, so you can go into the cars that Batman drove and look at those. And you could take any of those, say the 66 TV Batmobile, and click on that, and then it would show you items that are based off that, in itself collectible. So, you can see here, they made 4. It was made by George Barris. There's a page for him. It was made by Barris Custom, his company. There's some history here. 2 people have on their wish list. But I can also click on any of these collectibles, and then it would show me, in this case, a gift set, what is it made of? And then each of those items has its own entry. So I can click one of those, and it would tell me, okay, this item has 5 variants. I can look at these, anything from the prototype to a brass model that they did just one of, and then the various production models that they did. You can go into the sub-variants, and you can even go down to the spare part details.
Wow, it really is amazing. I know 2,000 plus volunteers is a lot, but for this kind of detail for all these types, I mean that's really impressive. That because somebody has to find that info and put it in, right, at some point.
Yes. Well, and you can always tell. Every page has the person who added it and any other change that was made afterwards.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and you can see there's third-party links, and there's lots of stuff here that you can do on the page. Let's just go into a little more of the PopPriceGuide background. So here's one of these chrome Batman figures, and I can look at the variations that has. And I think I wanted to show you how you can see it's the same. So if I look at this page here, I look for Batman Funko Chrome. That's hobbyDB, and here the same screen on PopPriceGuide. It's the same stuff.
Oh, okay. So
the only difference is that if I look for here something that's not Funko, I won't find it. While here I see everything, here I would only see Funko items. That's really the only difference.
Okay.
And the homepage is a little bit different, but otherwise it's the same feature. Everything is the same. So it doesn't really matter if you come in the hobbyDB side or the PopPriceGuide. You can log in and you can see everything that you have and so on and so forth. But let's look at the various features. So we've got the database. We looked at that a little bit before. And here I just want to show the details that we can go now into. So if you see that Boba Fett, you probably have those 3. I can go into here and it will give me the sub-variants. So in this case,
even the font one, the larger font versus the smaller font. That's really good.
And then you can see it makes a difference, right? So the black version, the newest one, $9 kind of retail. The version just before, $20, double retail. And this one here, these are the first ones that they did, under $20.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've seen a lot of collectors post questions on the Facebook forums and groups, and they'll say like, I just got this Boba Fett, which one is it? And they'll try to ask. And so this is a great way for them to just pull up.
You can see it tells you the sub variants are basically, most people would say they're the same. So if you collect loose, you don't care about any of this. You just have that guy. If you collect just the different main variations, well, this is your page. And you can also go to the Boba Fett page and then see anything Boba Fett related.
So you have featured pages for certain characters, essentially.
Every character. We have 80,000 pages. We call those subject pages. Anything that you can't own him. Rise of Ryan, the chief designer of Funko, has a page. Any series will have a page. Every brand will have a page. Every TV series, every movie, everything that is interesting to collectors, but not a collectible itself, has a page. So So you can see here, there's links to Star Wars. I can go into what's called related subjects, and then I can see all the other Star Wars related subjects.
Nice. So here's I mean, that's really cool. And also what might be a slippery slope for some of us, right? So like if you love Boba Fett or you love Batman or something, then you're like, oh, look at all these other Batman related collectibles and all these different lines. And then, but that's great because.
And what you can do, I mean, again, I show you. So if I click on 3CPO, you can see I'm on PopPriceGuide. I see Funko's 3CPOs. I can, if I just change this very quickly here, just the word hobbyDB versus PopPriceGuide, then I'm in the hobbyDB environment, and now I see anything that we have that's 3CPO related. So that's really
awesome.
the main difference. You know, this is there's no barrier, if you like. It shows everything, while the earlier view just shows me Funko stuff. So if I just want the Funko, this is my place. If I want everything else, I can go to hobbyDB. Otherwise, it's the same.
You know, one of the things about your site and sites that's really amazing is it helps you learn about the hobby. So when I first started off collecting Pops, you know, a handful of years ago, like I didn't realize how many of them there were. And then when I found PopPriceGuide, I would spend, you know, hours on the site just kind of perusing like what is out there, like just going through each of the different categories and finding different, you know, and it really helped me learn the values of Pops and kind of and I know you basically, maybe we can talk a little bit about that later, kind of how the values come into play and where you pull that info from. But it helped me learn about the hobby. It helped me to kind of learn what was a good deal, you know, what Pops were hot Pops, what, you know, all that kind of stuff. And it really helped form kind of the strategies that I've come up with, you know, to build this collection. Like it really started and has continued to, you know, I still use PPG all the time, you know, with your site.
Yeah. So we talked about subjects. I had that open as my next tab. You can see here, you can always search in different ways up here or sort in different ways. So this is our main page for Funko. And if you click on related subjects here, you'll see all the different types of Funko pages that we have. And what I find is interesting is you can, for example, click on characters. Now this shows me all the characters that Funko invented.
Oh, nice. That's brilliant.
You know, and you can look at designers, Funko, or series Funko. And then if you like one of these, you can do that, and then it keeps track of them, and you can get updates on Carl, for example. So that's what we call subjects. You can see up here, I have database items and subjects. There are different ways of browsing the data. If I want to see 12 Days of Christmas, the series, then I can find that subject. And if I want to find the Boba Fett, I just type in Boba Fett and its number, and I do that in database. Both are good ways of searching for different things. So if you wanted to find all the amazing Carlos, obviously subjects would be the way to go.
Got it.
And then the last thing here is the marketplace. So this is where you can buy stuff or sell stuff. And then we move to the more personal stuff.
This is the best. This is the best page in the whole site. That's what this is.
Exactly. Here's what we call the showcase. So the idea is this is somebody's museum, and again, just to show that, you know, it's really interchangeable. So this is what we think is the online museum of everybody. So here's somebody else. Here's Bat Collector with his collection. And you can see he's done, this is one of our newest features, lists. So you can create your own lists. You can feature, think of them like a room in a museum. So he can go in and say, okay, I want people to see my Robins first. So you can feature that, and that's what I would see when I come in. Again, like everywhere else on the page, you can sort by different ways here. And you see the collection stats and the top 10. And also if this person helps with anything. So this guy's a curator for the DC Extended Universe, which makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's my external facing page. That's what I want other people to see. Then I also have my own pages. So here you can see this is my dashboard for my collection. This is where I can go into the various. Hold on. Wrong page. Yeah, here it is. So here's where I can create my new lists. and this is my spotlight. So this is where people want to go. So today I want to show them my Lego. And here's my collection management. And this is where I can easily add a bunch of items. So I can go in here and saying, okay, look for all my Lego. And then I can mark it all and I can make it into a list, for example. So this is more anodyne looking. It's not meant to look fancy because I don't want to show it to other people. It's just for me to manage my collection. You got all these filters here. And we're adding more functionality here all the time. Like we're coming up with something we can trade pops with others, and that's all going to live here. Same as with your wish list and your lists and all that kind of good stuff.
Sure. Yeah, I've personally enjoyed that page and that those changes that you guys have made to the, it's really easy to add items to your collection. Not that it wasn't before, but it's even smoother to kind of add things to your collection, add them to your wish list, remove them from your wish list. Just finding your items is a lot easier, it seems.
Thanks. And we added just this, so you can now have 50 on a page. If you want to, if you have a big collection like you do, that's helpful. We'd probably eventually make that 100. And then also you have these abilities to go from here to your item, and from your item into the database entry, and from the database entry into your collection management. So you can jump around, either direction goes.
That's a really cool Lego right there.
So yes, I do like the Lego bricks. I think they're kind of geared towards Funko collectors.
They are. It seems as though when I first saw them in the store, it's very similar to a pop in a way. They're trying to capture that same.
And it's funny because I mean it's another section where. So this is a good example. These are not on PopPriceGuide. So if I wanted to see them, I would have to go to hobbyDB. And that's changeable. So if the Funko community says we want these, then we can just add them in. It's super easy. It takes 2 minutes. But here they are, and it's interesting because they're generally trending up very nicely. Particularly Star Wars figures have been trending up really well over the last few months. So they seem to be on to something. We looked at the collection at all these what I call my stuff, my showcase, my collection management, my wish list, my list management, and then if I buy something, there's my orders and my offers sent. Then there's a selling section. If I want to sell, that's here. Again, there's a dashboard, and then I can look at my items and the items I've sold in the past and so on, my feedback, all that kind of stuff that you would expect. And then lastly, where is that? It's the creation dashboard. And this is where the 2,437 volunteers live. So this is where you can do stuff like, add an item to the database, add a subject. A subject is a series or a character or, something like that, a designer, something you can't own. This is where you can do eBay prices and other price points. We're developing a lot of other price points. We can talk a little bit about that later. And where you can manage database items, so merge double entries and do all that kind of stuff that happens when you have a lot of volunteers. So that's basically our system. And I thought at this point of time, I see if you have any questions, and if not, we could show you a little bit of features coming.
Yeah, no, that's good. Thank you, Christian, for having that all ready and pulled up and going through. Like it's really a smooth process. If you wouldn't mind, and I don't know if you have, we can pull up the very first page of PPG, because I think it's really neat that there's always something different on that page. Like I always look forward to pulling that up and seeing the different articles. Yes, exactly. So it seems like you guys are posting more things lately.
Yes, and particularly what we like to do is ask questions. So we've started doing that. Here we ask something about valuations, some finite details, because valuation is really an art. Here we ask about infinite scroll and just see if people want that or not. That's coming. Or here we introduced you. I think earlier we asked about customs, and that wasn't something that people wanted. But signed models they do. So we start adding signed pops now. We started lightly because signed pops is a tricky area. So we started with Toyzilla, who does editions of between 7 and 120 pops that they sign, and they have a COA and so on and so forth. So now we've done $7 a pop, and we'll do that first. We'll do these easier ones because they have a COA, and then we'll start working on pops that are signed on conventions and elsewhere, where the risk of fraud is so much higher.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're still working on some ideas there.
Sure. Yeah. People signing pops, it definitely is getting more popular. I know any Comic Cons that I've been to in the last couple of years, people have brought their pops with them, to get it signed. And some people don't even think about that, but it's really a neat idea.
Yeah, I mean, when we asked if people want to see customs, it was an overall no, but it wasn't that clear. But when we asked if people wanted to have signature items, it was the biggest yes we ever had.
Wow. Yeah, and I think it's neat you have the poll there. I actually voted in I think the other day in that poll, I think I voted for Pinhead being the scariest, the scariest pop.
Yeah.
The cuteness didn't really transfer over with Pinhead as it kind of did with some of the other ones. So yeah, no, that's awesome. And so essentially, just to summarize some of the, like, somebody that's brand new to Pop Price Guide, they pull it up, they put, poppriceguide.com, they pull it up, they kind of have, like you pulled up there, those 3 different areas. They can search for items in the database for Funko if they're in the Pop Price Guide. They can search for subjects or buy and sell things in that marketplace there. So it's kind of 3 different areas to your site. And then
maybe just briefly on that one. I mean, one of the things that you can do is, so if I look for Batman Chrome, I can obviously search for that, but I can also do the opposite. I can say Batman minus Chrome, and that will exclude the Chrome and just show me everything else.
Oh, okay.
So there's a lot of stuff you can do like that, where you can just refine it. So, now I want Dorps. You can just add to the query. And the other thing I think is nice is, let's say I collect Dorp heroes. Click on that. I can now say, okay, show me everything that's not in my collection yet. That's not on my wish list, because if it's on my wish list, I already know about it. It just minimizes the amount of items there are. So as there are new items coming up, you can say, okay, I'll buy it or I'll add it to my wish list. And that way it would only leave stuff that you haven't made that call yet on.
Right. Well, and you can easily pull this up on your phone too. Like, I don't know how many times I've done that if I'm out and about. Like, at some point, when you reach a certain, excuse me, a certain number, with your collection, you're kind of confident. I mean, I pretty much know what I have and what I don't have, but there's always those moments where you're like, I think I've pre-ordered this, or I've ordered this, or maybe it's on the way. And I always make sure to put it in the Pop Price Guide, so I know, so I can just pull that up on my phone. I always have PPG open on my computer at all times, all the time. Like, I just have it open, and same thing on my phone. I always have a browser window open. So if I'm out and about and I'm hunting or looking for something, I just check it, see if I have it, check the value, kind of compare it, especially with, there's a lot more events that will, before COVID-19 and the pandemic, there was a lot more events where a lot of collectors would get together and trade and sell with each other and stuff like that. So it's really important to know the value of things. I mean, there's a lot of good collectors in the communities locally here where I'm from in Virginia, but you never know. There could be someone that's gonna, try to scam you or rip you off. So it's really important to have these values. And for me anyway, PPG has really been the go-to place to get that info, just to verify, what is this worth right now? Yeah. So if I can ask too, and maybe you plan on saying this a little bit later too, but how did the values, these estimated values, because they change and fluctuate, which makes sense. So where does that come from? How do you determine that?
Okay, there are various price points. Let me show you very quickly. We have hobbyDB prices, and we have eBay prices, and I'll show you that. And then we have what we call curator values, and there are 4 or 5 more price points that are coming. So here, here I'm looking at these brickheads, and you can see on the left, this is an item that came in from eBay. It tells me 100% complete, but it looks loose. It says used here, which is in red. You can see the value in our catalog. This is a brickhead, it's not a Funko, but same mechanism applies. You can see this is a $36 value at the moment. And we can just quickly look at that. So here's the page for it. So 36, and here's the different transactions that we had for this item. So I suspect that this doesn't have a package. Let's look at it. I would probably look at it because of the difference. So, and eBay doesn't make this easy, has ended, retired, 100% complete, view original item. Here it is, sorry, I was looking for that. So this doesn't come on the box. We don't want that price. So in that case, I delete this. We keep a record that we have deleted that price, but it doesn't go in the valuation. We want near mint condition.
So you really have somebody looking for those details, because I know sometimes there'll be an auction on eBay or something that maybe somebody's intentionally manipulating the price or stuff like that happens, or there might be one really outlier sale.
Well, so what we do, I mean, every channel is different. On eBay, we have 140 vendors that we think are just full of shit. So we don't take any of their stuff.
Okay.
When you look at them, you can see that they peddle stuff that sticker swaps and other things that we don't want. So that's out first. Then when stuff comes in and it has the word deleted, damage or anything, or lose or anything like that, we won't take it. So it won't even show up here. Then the rest, a human looks at it. And you have to make a call. So this is a duplicate. And so this is 2 items. So there's no point for us to assign it. This one looks better, $29.99. This has been trading up, actually. I do quite a bit of these. So that one, this is the eBay item. That's our item. So I'm going to add that. And just to show you quickly, I'm going to add that. And what happens is overnight, so I've just opened this page here. Overnight, that value will appear in the 7-day band. So there will be 14 prices, and it will recalculate this. And maybe it's big enough to bring this up to 17.15 or something.
That's good to know. I mean, that's really good to know that.
And you can see here when it was last calculated. So it tells you when every one of our prices and charts has this little clock next to it, and that tells you when the last calculation was. And the last calculation is when there's a value coming in. And that price point I just assigned, that will come up overnight. There's basically a routine that sucks them in, put them in the calculation, recalculates this, and then changes the estimated value.
That's awesome, because really the values that you guys have in your site are probably they're more accurate than I think some people think. I think some people may think that there could be a dud out there that's something just is totally off, and it just really changes the price in a negative way.
Well,
it's not accurate, but you're really looking at this.
Every one of the transactions, so you can see this looks good, and you can click through. No, I mean, eBay at a certain point of time, these links were dead, but there's nothing we can do about that. But but you can see here these are actual transactions.
Yep.
And every one of them can be flagged, and if you flag it, somebody will look at it and decide on that flag that you can click that button. They will say, okay, wrongly assigned price. Why? And then I can say it says in the package is missing, and then we look at that and we'll remove that price and recalculate.
Yeah, I mean, you guys do the work for us, really. So if you want to look for a value, like a lot of people talk about, like go on eBay, look at the sold listings, compare it. But it's right here. Like all you have to do is just go click on that.
I mean, yeah, item. We do it, but also let me see. We do it, but it's a lot by our volunteers. I think this guy is doing a lot. Let me just look. With every item, you can always see who's added it. I was just looking for this guy here. So this is one of our users, and you can see he's added 41,000 price points already.
Oh wow!
To the system. This gentleman has added 220 items to the database, and he has added 40,000 prices, which is great. And he also is the curator for various pages, so he's responsible for these pages.
Oh wow! He's got a lot of pretty pricey pops there too. That's pretty neat.
Yeah. Yes, and he's used our new list system. This is the new list system, which we have big plans for. I'll talk about that when we talk about new stuff coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I showed you the eBay prices. The hobbyDB prices are automatic. We know what the item is, what condition it is, so it gets automatically assigned. We have what we call expert price, curator price for items that don't have any other price. We think a market price is always better, but if that doesn't exist, then we adding what we call then certain members can add a price to the system. Let me just show you. I can find that. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. You know, and as we're going through some of these things, if you know, if you can think about what are the most common questions that you get from users of PPG, you know, things that, you know, if they're asking about functionality or how to do this or how to do that, like what's the most common, you know, questions that you guys tend to get?
Yeah, so I found it now. What I wanted to show you is we've got all kinds of new prices that are coming in. One is the retail price, and that's also added by a user. You can see who's added it, and the beauty of that is this is the first price that the item should have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a Funko Pop normally starts at $10, and that's where this charge should start because that's what most people pay for it.
Yeah.
When they buy it in the store. So that's the retail price, and then we've got auction house prices, where you can see, you know, which auction house sold this item, and you can click in and you can see more information. This is something that we're just rolling out, where we just can add many, many more price points. We also have what we call the user estimate, which is this one. So where this person, when an item doesn't have a price, certain users can add their price expectation of that item. And you can check who they are. So you can click through, see that profile of the person, seeing if you believe what they said or not. It's just another price point, basically. So we got the user price, we got the hobbyDB price, the eBay price, the auction house prices. Online prices will come, so people can report Mercari prices and other prices into the system. And each of those goes into that calculation.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of painful to see that Ygritte pop there at $47. I don't know if you follow Game of Thrones or if you were a Game of Thrones fan, but you know, she used to be one of the most expensive pops in the line. She was over $100 at one point, and then she's dropped quite a bit. Maybe because of the last season, we don't have to get into that, but
yes, maybe.
many of them have dropped for sure.
Yes. Yeah. That's one of the plans, to show the top winners in the season. So you know the top 10 that you have on your showcase.
Yes.
Like these guys here, with the chart down here. Again, you see the same kind of clock, so you can see when that was last calculated. So if you bought something new, you can tell here if we've added that or not added that yet. But that top 10, the idea is to then also show it for series, for example. Oh,
nice.
So have a chart, top 10 winners and probably top 10 losers, since you just about that, for each of those. Just up here as a chart if you want to see that. And then if you follow that, you would also get notification saying, okay, here's a new top 10 if you want to see that.
Yeah. Well, I remember, and I can't remember if it's on the newer features of the website, but on the previous version of PPG, you kind of had I think there was the top, hot heating up pops, they're kind of going, yes, and then the cooling off pops. So I know you definitely have the green and the red, like this is going up, this is going down. Is there still the cooling off or the heating up?
Yeah. So the old site had 4 lists. You just mentioned 2, and there were 2 others. Top 10 ever or something, and something else, but they were hard coded. That was all there is. Why don't I go into the new stuff?
Sure. Let's do it. This is great.
Kind of start talking about it. Do you see the mystery box?
I do.
Okay.
I do see it.
Good. So what's coming? I mean, that's always the best part of it. And frankly, we moved from the old pop price a little bit earlier than we wanted to, really for the reason that when we took it on board, it took so much maintenance. I mean, for example, it didn't have pagination. It would just show everything. And we had to throw more and more resources just to maintain it. And we haven't done anything new on PopPriceGuide because we just couldn't.
Right.
Because we were maintaining hobbyDB and PopPriceGuide on an old stack that just shouldn't really have been maintained anymore. So we kind of pulled off the bandage. And since then, we have this time where we can now work on other stuff. You've seen a lot of new stuff coming. There's much more to come. So first one is infinite scroll. And that's proper infinite scroll. The old system had everything load at the same time, which is fine if you had 100 items. But for you, it would have been a nightmare. Some people had to wait 3 or 4 minutes for everything to load.
Yes.
Infinite scroll will actually make the site faster. It will just load 4 or 5 items at a time and then load the rest behind it. The nice thing is if there's a series with 20 items or 22 items, you don't have to go pagination next. You can just scroll down and up. So excited about that. We'll roll it out. We asked, and people want it on the database first and then showcase next. And then we're going to do subjects and then we're going to do marketplace. So it's going to come to all parts of the site.
That's great. That's a nice feature.
Yeah. Next one is more filters. I mentioned one of the really strong features. If you like Pop Marvel as a page for it, you can go to it. It shows you everything there is. You can filter it, and then you can say, okay, show me only stuff I already have, that I don't have, sorry, and that's not in my wish list. But sometimes there's certain things you don't like, or there may be prototypes or other things that you don't want to have. So we're going to create a new button called hide, or I don't like, or something like that. So you can go through you can eventually go through you certainly would have by now, the 22,000 Funko items we have and say, okay, I have it, I want it, I don't want it. Which means that everything that shows up now when you filter those out is things you haven't made a decision on yet.
Right.
Well, it's the ultimate dream, right? I mean, you can say, okay, don't show me prototypes, don't show me customs, don't show me signed stuff. And then everything else, I just want to make a decision. Yes, I want to have that wish list. I already have it done. I don't want it. Don't show it to me again.
Don't show me glow in the dark. That's one
right.
of my that's one of my lines that I don't really deal with too much.
Okay. Well, there will be a place where you can see those. So if you ever want to go back to them, or you can just unhide them and then they're back. But you could say my normal filter is don't show me that stuff. If I said once I don't want it, I really don't want it. So it's kind of a slightly weird concept, but it really makes sense if you think about it, because that way you can only see new stuff that you really want to make a decision on if I want this or not.
Yeah, it saves you time and it really gives you more control.
Yeah. Many more lists. Yeah. I hate everything hard coded. So I know a lot of people like the old way where it would show you your Pop Marvel and your Pop Disney and your Pop DC and so on and so forth. Yeah. But that is just given to you that way, and there was no way to change it. Now you can create your own list. We'll have to make it a little more convenient, but you can make your own lists. You can sort however you like. And those lists will then also apply for wish lists. And then we have the idea of creating these losing and winning lists. You will be able to create your own list, coolest 10 Batman items ever made. Worst that Funko did, whatever you want. And then you can share that with other people and they can start liking and following that list, or you can keep it private. So there's much more we can do with lists.
Yeah, that communication with other members within is really cool. I think a first list I would do is probably the laziest chase list. So the laziest chase versions of Pops.
Yeah.
That would be neat to see what people come up with.
Well, you can have then the coolest chase ones, and then you can look at the price changes in both of them, seeing which one is a winner and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Then the personal gallery. Good for you, I guess. It's like just a place where, we're very good to add one individual Funko item into the system. But if you want to also share all of your collection, or you've made a diorama or anything else, or you're on a con and you're meeting one of the designers or having a signature done by somebody you really admire, we want that in the showcase. So there will be a section where you can add just your own photos and label them whatever you want and show them with the world. Because again,
wow.
it's meant to be your museum.
Right. That's awesome. That's yeah. I mean, people. It's like your own personal Instagram. You know,
Yeah.
you can just post whatever you want. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, you can obviously do it on Facebook, but with Facebook, once you post it, 3 days later, it's gone. You cannot find it even if you wanted to. This way, this is your place, and you can have a list. So we come back to lists of my man cave, and a list my con experiences and my pop friends, and then you can share that list with somebody else. You can send it to somebody. Here it is. Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Cool.
Ratings. So this is where you can just rave or not about something. Every page will have it, and it will lead to really interesting things. We can say, here are the top 10 most valuable pops. We can always do that. But here are the 10 most liked pops. They're not necessarily the same. And here are the pops that everybody hates. That kind of thing. And here's everything from Games of Thrones that really people love or not. So that's ratings. It's just going to be super simple. It's just going to be slider 0 to 10, and when you get it, you just go, okay, 8, 9, 10, 5, whatever it is. And then you may rank everything slightly higher than somebody else, but with the numbers that we have, some of our items, 25,000 people own it. With 432 ratings, that's all ironed out. So it's going to be a really interesting measurement of what people really like.
Yeah, that's really neat to see.
And then the other thing we can do is, we can then start saying, okay, Paul, you like this and this and this. Here's some other stuff that people that like this and this and this also liked.
Right. You can do the connections for people. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you never thought of Tiny Ghost. Here's Tiny Ghost. You may like that, and you're like, oh yeah, or no, I don't. Well, put it on the hide list. And we learn something. You say, okay, Paul doesn't like that. Anyway, so that's user rating, and then last thing is barcode scanning. We're adding UPC codes for it, and there will be an app where you can just click on it. Do I have it? Do I not have it? What is it worth? So you don't have to type it in anymore. At the moment, you got to type in Batman 412 and it comes up.
Right.
But this would be faster.
Now, I did hear you say there will be an app, right? Did I hear you correctly?
Yes. It's always
which is fantastic. That's awesome. That's awesome. I think one thing that that I've heard from a lot of collectors is they love PPG. They love it, and they're like, when are we going to get an app? Of course, nobody ever is satisfied, and they always want more.
I think we talked a lot about that. We talked to a lot of the users. In the past, I think people wanted to show their collection when they were offline, but now it doesn't matter where you go, you're always online. So that's not so important anymore. What we now want to do is this barcode thing. That would be great. And the other thing that I really look forward to is recognition. You photograph something like Google Lens. You photograph something, you're saying, what is that? Let's say it's a Dorps you've never seen. Because, if you've never seen it, it's hard to identify those sometimes.
Right.
And the system will come up and saying, here's something that looks very similar. And you go through and saying, that's the one. I think that is where a phone is really good for, because the phone has a camera and it has the ability to take the snapshot and to avoid, lots of keyword typing.
Right. That would save a lot of time. That would be amazing. You see a pop, you scan it, or if you're out and about, at somebody's house and they're selling pops, or you're trading or something, you don't know what this collectible is. So would that be for any of the collectibles that you guys have on your site, or mainly just pops first? Or
the first step will be a UPC code, and you will just be able to put in any UPC code.
Oh wow, okay. That changes the game, right? I mean, that really changes things. There's not really many options that are this sophisticated when you look at trackers for collectibles that I'm aware of. They're not out there.
Yeah, we've always focused on the website experience and the mobile website experience. And actually a call out there, there's still a few things that don't work 100% mobile. Let us know. There's a little green button on the right of the site. You can contact us. Let us know that something is not perfect. We'll fix it. But I think this is where an app is really good.
Yeah.
You know, barcode scanner, photo recognition, that kind of stuff. It's awesome. And then we'll step up from there and do a few more things. But basically, you know, you want a really, really good mobile phone experience, mobile web experience, and you want an app for something where the mobile phone is just better.
Now, I remember, I know, you know, we've talked before and have connected before, and I think you had mentioned something about the ability to kind of follow other people. Like you want to follow their showcase, you want to follow. Is that something that you guys want to do?
No, we already have that. So every subject, so every series, every designer has a heart, so you can like it. Every user has that. Every seller has it. So you can already do that. Every list will have that. It's a little hard on every page. So just click on that. And, and there's a page coming where you can see all of that. So you can say, okay, which users did I like? We'll also come up with them. This is the near term. There's also a member directory that's going to come up.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, we can say who else collects Funko in my town that is really into warblers or something.
And also, you know, in the links under this video, when it's posted to the site, to my channel, I'll make sure, and of course people can see it through as they watch the video, but I'll put the PPG link and the hobbyDB link and everything just right there, so you know people can just jump right in. And if they haven't tried out PPG, like I would highly recommend and suggest it. But we'll put those links in the video for people too.
Cool. Yeah, and if it looks like we're getting to the end, so I have a little call to action. You know, we have 2,437 volunteers. We'd like to bring it to 5,000 next year. So if you want to join the team, we'd love to have you. You know, we're looking for contributors. Those are people that can add. So everybody can use the site. And everybody can add, register for free and start a collection, a wish list, and all that kind of good stuff. But you can't contribute for the reason that we want to have a tight control over that. We want to make sure that people are serious and follow some conventions. So the invitation is to become a contributor and then later a curator. Then there's the price quote. They apply the prices that I showed you. And we're also looking for a journalist, somebody who wants to just write more about Funko and Pops and some of our amazing users in the collection, like the article we did on you, Paul. So if you're interested in any of this, contact us. We'd love to have you. I promise you it's fun. The pricing stuff I do every day, a few hundred items, it's fun. So, you know, there's a little button there on the right-hand side, that green button, Contact hobbyDB. It's on PPG and hobbyDB. Just click it.
Yeah, just do it. Even if you're on the fence about it, just click it. Just click it. It'll be fun. Yeah. It'll be good. Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And it's really amazing, the community of collectors that you've, you know, grown together to put to really, you know, piece everything together. And hopefully this video can help you get more volunteers. I hope that's the case. You know, it's definitely a worthwhile cause to help. Awesome. Well, thank you, Christian. Is there anything else that you feel like the viewers should know, or anything else about PPG or hobbyDB?
No, it's just that, you know, I mean, I think all of us are collectors. We all collect something slightly different, but we're all collectors, and we'd like to, we have this little tagline. If you go to hobbyDB, the homepage, it says 100 billion collectibles eventually. 100 billion. The eventually is the key part there, I guess, but we want to document everything out there. And then the idea is that it's by collectors, for collectors, and as of last year, owned by collectors. So we would love to have 100,000 people that add 100 billion collectibles, and all of them own part of it. That would be my dream.
That'd be all. Let's see if we can help you make that happen.
Thanks.
Let's definitely see that. Absolutely. Well, thank you, Christian, for joining the channel. So if you like this video, please like, subscribe, you know, share this video, and you know, turn on your notifications so you can get notifications for new pop culture type videos. So thank you, Christian. I appreciate your time.